Hello, friends. It's great to be back with you again. Let us see what Samarth Ramdas Swami has said in his 192nd shloka. Manā kaḻe nāḍhaḻe rūpa jyāce Dujevīṇa dhyāna vottamāce Tayā khūṇa hīna pāhe Tethe saṅga nissaṅga doṅhī sāhe. The one whose form neither our mind can understand nor can it find, we should meditate on that supreme reality in a non-dualistic way. Any illustration for the mark or signal of it is delusive. It transcends both attachment and detachment. In this shloka, Samarth Ramdas Swami is taking us still ahead about the understanding of the supreme reality. In the last two shlokas, he first mentioned that it is the one who created the earth. Then, in the next shloka, he clarified that it is neither a creator nor a guardian of the universe. Now, here he is talking about it being neither non dual nor opposite of non dual. We cannot imagine that supreme reality in our mind, as it is beyond imagination and is indescribable. Since it is indescribable, we cannot find it also. We can find only that for which we can create an image in our mind, or at least some kind of way to identify it, whether it is through the appearance or other ways our sensory organs can sense, like just based on how the speech is, or the way dogs can smell some item and can search based on that, or like the treasure hunts where clues are provided to get to the next location where we find another clue, and so on. The only way is to meditate upon that non dual supreme reality under the guidance of a real guru. Even the gods with form, which we can easily identify with, have certain characteristics associated with them. Lord Ganesh is with the head of an elephant. Lord Vittala is always standing on a brick with his hands resting on his arms akimbo, which means with arms resting on both sides just above the hips and elbows pointing outwards. Lord Rama always has a bow in his hand and an arrow quiver on his back. Lord Sri Krishna has either a Sudarshan Chakra in his hand or is playing flute held in his hands, and so on. These forms with specific characteristics never change. These gods are never shown growing old, they are forever young. For example, we will not be able to identify with Lord Vittala if he is shown sitting instead of standing in that specific way. Similarly, any explanation or illustrations which are given to identify the supreme reality are going to be always incomplete. We should look at them with the sense that it is purely for illustration and is just an attempt. It is not a complete, foolproof description as By definition itself, the Supreme Reality cannot be described. Any illustration, such as waves in the sea, or mirror, or reflection, or any other ones, should be looked at as just an attempt for some kind of understanding, but fully knowing that it cannot be real. Samarth Ramdas Swami further explains here that even the description of it by mentioning it as uniting with it is wrong. By principle, when we utter the word unite, it has to refer to two different objects or beings. Unless there are two separate entities, there cannot be a union. The Supreme Reality is not separate from anything or anyone at all. So there is no question of uniting with it. The reference of uniting with it is only an attempt to explain that we, in our minds, treat ourselves as a separate entity from the Supreme Reality. The saints then give the explanation of meditating upon it by uniting with it. Samarth Ramdas Swami also says that the opposite is also not true. The other ways of illustrating it is by defining ourselves as a separate entity before asking to unite, or asking to detach from the surroundings, or getting dispassionate about the life, or detaching ourselves from every kind of association. This way of illustration also is incomplete, as again, here also, the point is that the Supreme Reality is within everything and everyone. So, if we detach ourselves from the surroundings or from others, it is still incorrect way of describing it, as we cannot disassociate from it. Hence, Samarth Ramdas Swami mentions that the Supreme Reality is beyond all of this, is transcendental to either attachment or detachment. These illustrations should be referred to only as that, purely the illustrations, and as an attempt by the saints or scriptures to describe that which is indescribable. Every illustration is lowly, according to Samarth Ramdas Swami, in this sense. We should not try to peel the layers of every illustration and try to prove it wrong, because the fact is that they are not at all completely perfect. In the Marathi language, there is a phrase for this, "keys काढणे," which means trying to have a microscopic view of something and then trying to point out the flaws in it. At least these illustrations help a little bit in trying to understand the Supreme Reality, the Paramatma, the Brahman, and should be used in that sense only. Friends, if you liked this explanation, feel free to provide your comments, and do like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel A Dialogue with Our Mind. जय जय रघुवीर समर्थ।